it's quite timely that today I am organising all my Vinted stuff. Last week in the news, HMRC announced that they were going to have a crackdown on side hustles, and it's got people really upset. But to be honest with you, they're just enforcing the laws that already existed. So if you just sell stuff out your own wardrobe like I did last year, I made about 73 quid on Vinted, and it was literally my old stuff. I had quite a lot because I was a combination of I used to buy a lot of stuff and then I was too lazy to get rid of stuff. So I've had quite a few like underbed storage bags, and I've just carted stuff around with me over the years thinking, oh, one day I might get into that, and I haven't. So I did make about 73 quid. I haven't declared that on my self-assessment because that was personal items I was getting rid of. But me getting organised with this vintage stuff that I've been given, the second-hand stuff that I've been given by my friend, I accepted those items from her on the premise that I was going to make money out of it. So even though it doesn't quite fit my business model, because I design clothes, I design and make dresses, I'm going to declare this because I'm doing it solely because I want to make money out of it. So therefore it becomes businessy. So I am going to declare all this, and that's fine. It'll make my income look slightly better, and I'm sure that Universal Credit will like that when they see that. But yeah, so it's kicked up quite a fuss amongst people. You're allowed to, my understanding from the article is that you are allowed to sell 30 items up to £2,000 before you have to declare it. Now, if you start up as a small business, you are allowed to earn £1,000 before you have to declare yourself as a business and register for self-assessment. Now, if you are selling as a side hustle, not because you're having a wardrobe clear out, but because you are actually selling as a side hustle, and that's regardless of the other work that you do. You know, you might have a regular 9-to-5 job, you might be a part-time worker, you might be a gig worker, you might have your own small business but it doesn't earn a lot, and buying and selling second-hand stuff, maybe your friends give you all their second-hand clothes when they don't want them and you're selling those as an income. You would need to declare those. But of course it depends on your tax bracket. So for me, all the little side hustles I do that I put into my self-employed pot still don't meet the minimum for paying tax, and in part that's because it's little bits here and there, but also because some of the things that I do incur expenses. So for my actual business, I sell on Etsy, I sell through my website. There are charges from Etsy for every time I list stuff, every time I sell stuff. The cleaning work I do, there are expenses involved in that because I have to drive to one of the jobs, so there's mileage involved. Occasionally I might have to buy cleaning stuff if people ask me to buy it for them, and then I get reimbursed, so that counts. So and it's surprising how quickly those small amounts of expenses build up and knock you down beneath the tax bracket. So if you were selling all this stuff, say for instance on eBay would be charging you loads in fees probably. They have listing fees, selling fees, you've got the postage. On Vinted it's much simpler. You list the item for what you want for it, you don't get charged a fee, and the buyer organises their own postage through the app their end. So whatever you list the item for is what you'll get. So that works really well for me, and it's a quicker, simpler way of just selling second-hand clothes. I find it much less hassle. So if you are selling stuff as a side hustle like I am doing today, and I'm about to talk you through this rail which I've suddenly amounted here. Think carefully about getting caught out by the taxman, because they're not just asking you to declare it. HMRC are going to the companies, so they're going to eBay, they're going to Vinted, and they're asking them to reveal the amounts of money that people are making on their site. So, I mean, it feels slightly timely that not so long ago I was doing a post about how the government are putting through legislation so they can dip into your bank account and have a look at what you're doing. And I kind of feel like maybe they're in cahoots on this, that there's more to come, that this will be interesting. Because if you're on, say, universal credit or state pension or something like that, then the government can have a look to see if you're making an extra few quid out of selling on Vinted or eBay. And we're being watched everywhere. It's starting to feel very intrusive. That said, there are lots of people who are not paying the taxes that they should on side hustles, and I suppose in a way this stops the cash environment where people would just do things for cash because it wouldn't appear on the records. A lot of all these apps, you have to be registered for PayPal, for drawing down the income and all that sort of thing. So there is a paper trail for all of those things. So anyway, I'm going to talk you through all of this, and then I'm going to get cracking on getting it all washed, organised and sold. Let's make some money. not quite all of it. One of the drawbacks of all this is that my friend who's given me all this is an ex-smoker, and at the time when she bundled all this stuff up, which was last year sometime, and maybe it's been bagged up for quite a long time, it absolutely stinks of cigarette smoke. So I'm having to put everything through the wash, which is really, really irritating actually. So I've got the first lot has been through the wash and is now drying in various parts of my flat. I have, however, already sold one thing, and this was a brand new 2 jumper, size 16, which still has the tags on. It was gifted to her for Christmas and she doesn't want it. Now, it was £22 brand new, and I listed it on Vinted for a tenner, and I let someone haggle me down to £7. I didn't buy this. I need the stuff gone. £7 is £7, right? They've already had to pay for the postage at their end. I don't know what the postage is. It's probably going to come to about £3, something like that. So they've already paid at least a tenner for it. And that's one of the problems. You list an item, because you don't have to deal with the postage at your end as a vintage seller, you forget that that gets piled on top. And if you're looking for a bargain, let's say you found a pair of joggers that you really like and they're £3, and then you find out the postage on top is another £3. Do you want them if they're second hand? So it is problematic. So this one is now going to go into the post tomorrow morning, and I'm going to have to work through all this and start washing. Now I'm going to start with the winter knit stuff, because it is winter and people tend to be quite reactionary to the season they're in. So I'm going to put all the knitwear through the wash. There are a few things that I think I'm going to keep. Not many. I'm not going to keep any of the knitwear. So there is this hideous set of Disney pyjamas, and I'm toying with the idea of keeping the trousers, which I have already washed, because I think these will be a great addition to my staying warm wardrobe. They're quite big, they're really oversized for me. These are an XL, but with another pair underneath, like a pair of thermals or pyjamas underneath, this could be quite a good winter layer when we really start dipping in temperatures. That, on the other hand, can definitely go. I can't stand that. And that's just my personal opinion. I am thinking of keeping this top, which I've also put through the wash. A lot of my summer shirts, my lightweight summer stuff, is getting really old now, and I'm talking like 15-year-old Primark or New Look. And there's a couple of tops in amongst all of these items which might be a little bit big, but for just lounging around in the summer, going out for a walk in the woods, being at home in the flat, I think these might actually be quite nice. That's a papaya, that's a large size. Actually, looking at it, this one has quite a lot of almost like little bleach marks on it. So I think I'm going to keep this one for me and just have it as a summer layer. There is some really nice stuff here though. This is Fat Face. There's quite a lot of Fat Face stuff here. It's not a brand I buy because it's expensive, but there's quite a few Fat Face. There's a lot of Sainsbury's too. There's a couple of Next. So there's a few Primark things, but it's not that bad. Most of this I will probably stick on for £1, because I just would need it gone. I've now got this rail that I've got to find where I'm going to keep it. But I needed to get all this stuff up so I can look at it properly. At the moment, it's just been in bags, and the stuff that I've started to sort is just hanging on doors, and I can't have that. So I'd rather have the rail sat in the corner, being out the way, but being a more organised way for me to work through stuff, because I've now got to get it all washed. As soon as it's dry, I need to get it photographed and up, because I don't want this stuff hanging around.
Right, so it's the next day. I've got that jumper out in the post. That's on its way to its new owner, and hopefully it'll all go well. I've done another 2 washes. There's just washing everywhere. I underestimated the amount of space I would need, so I'm now juggling washing, and as soon as something's dry I can put something else in its place. And I've put the first 3 or 4 items on Vinted already. So it's a little conveyor belt system that will now carry on until everything's on. And then hopefully as I'm listing new stuff, some of the stuff I've already put on will sell, and slowly the space will start to re-emerge. I've ended up putting the rail into my studio space. I'm not making a lot in my studio at the moment because it's just too cold. We're back into almost minus temperatures at night. It's about 5 or 6 degrees during the day. At the moment I'm okay because I have this crazy great snuddy thing which is so warm. It's just so good. So I'm set, I'm organised. I've got about, I would say, probably about half the stuff has now been washed. I'm just going to keep working through it, and I'll let you know how I get on. But hopefully we'll put some money in the bank and give some second-hand clothes a new lease of life. Brilliant. Perfect.